many different meanings and explanations, but like everyone can have their own interpretation because we were cultivated by different organization, different career path, etc. Right? So if again, like if you have a better workflow, feel free to share with me. I happy to learn from you guys as well. And the next slide. So this is the question I have been asking myself. Like, if AI can generate UI and also write code in this new era, what's that for us as a designer to bring to the table? And I will give it a try to give my answer by the end of this presentation, but you can also think about your answer. And in my experiment, I have noticed there has two distinguished workflow, right? Like one is by design, whereas you use your prompt to create a design on canvas. And this is all about like fast iteration and visualization, right? But if you look at the other side, it's a vibe code, right? Like you use prompt to talk to the code base. It's incredibly powerful. Like you can create a working prototype from scratch, like for a couple minutes, and you have a prototype to play around. But the thing is that those those two things has a visible gap, right? Because if you actually play with the AI tool, you oftentimes you see that there has like a layer between them. And why experiment is that the design system or design token actually become a bridge between those two work. So today I want to share is that I don't want to build a design system from scratch. I will show you like what I mean later. But what I'm trying to do is that I want to leverage the component have been built like from JSON. And for those who don't know what's JSON, basically is a React component library, is like beautiful craft. And you can actually customize or like you can own your skin on top of it. So it's really interesting experiment. And I want to show you this just because that how powerful Claude can do for you, right? So this is an exact prompt I give to Claude. It's like, I want to build a design system and leverage a JSON. And I want to use the thing liquid glass because why not, right? I'm not a big fan of liquid glass, but it's actually a trending things out there. And my main objective is achieve both by coding and by designing in the same file structures. And leverage Claude and Figma console and CP to create the design in Figma, but translate later into the code. And this is what Claude gives to me. First, it gives to me the infographic, how those two things connect together. And then he construct a project structure for me. I didn't write a single line of code. This is all done by Claude. And at the end of this like discussion back and forth with Claude, it gave me a zip file where when I decompress, this is the project folders, right? It kind of a content, all the essential part, all the token and Figma mapping and style and whatnot. So it's really interesting. I'm going to show you later. But before I jump into that, I think there has a caveat, right? Although you already have this file structure created by Claude, but it's essential to enable the bridge between Claude and Figma, right? Where it's come to like Figma console and CP. And shout out for TJ Petrus, who is a founder from South Labs, create this amazing tool for all the community's members. I won't go through the 3 steps in detail just because that this probably takes 10 more minutes to wrap it out to have a complete setup. But if you're interested, you can just go to their official website. They have a really thorough step-by-step guide, and if you prefer the video, they also have a video walkthrough. So it's really handy to set it up. And one things I will notice my mistake by setting up the Figma console in CP was that I forgot to download their like their repo from GitHub because like the step three is actually required that you import a manifest file to Figma as a plugin, right? So when you enable that plugin, it creates a bridge between the Claude and Figma. So you can actually ask Claude to write something in Figma before it just like read, right? But recently Figma update their official MCP. They also have a read function. Oh, sorry, write function. But I think this is by far most effective way I have seen in the market right now. So I will go before I jump into the live demo. This is the simple workflow I have. It's basically like on the prior step, I already asked Cloud to create a theme for me, right? So the next step, the step one is that I ask Cloud to recreate those tokens because I want to see it visually, right? Like in Figma. So Cloud can create the design token in Figma, and then I can pick whatever chassis component I want to build, and ask Cloud to replicate that inside of Figma. And I think the step three is the funnest part where you can ask Claude to generate different variants. Let's say I want to have a different height, I want to add a link, I want to add accordions. It's really easy to ask Claude to do that. And the later part is that once you have a variant or the version you like, you can actually translate these design to code, right? And then the funnest part for designer is that you can actually iterate the behavior interactions. In the past, if your dominant tool is Figma, you can use Figma prototype, right? But what happens is that it's quite limited. If you want to add more interaction or micro animation, you are stuck with Figma setting itself. So the limitation is your ceiling. But with these steps, you can actually ask Cloud to do anything. And the step three is to add your personal touch. This is like kind of optional. You don't have to do that, but it's fun to kind of just play around what's capable of doing. And now come with the demo time. So now I'm going to share my entire screen. So I will stop sharing and try to share my entire screen. But like I said earlier, I'm not like super fluent with the cool. So can you guys see my screen? Perfect. Awesome. So personally, I like to use cursor. Like I like to use Claude inside of cursor because I can view the whole file structure. And before I jump into the live demo, I want to show you this. This is incredible, interesting. Like I didn't write a single line of code, right? Like I mentioned earlier, but this is the parodies, right? If you start to build a design system from scratch, and again, like I will share my repo after these sessions. Give me like a couple of days. I need to clean my repo. But if you're interested, you can actually download my repo and just like try to play around. And what's interesting is that this morning I tried to build these like a form components from scratch, and I didn't manipulate inside of Figma. I basically asked Claude to create these for me, right? So you can actually once you got this repo, you can actually ask Claude to do the same things. And you can add more and more component if you wish. So this is really, for me, it's really handy. And I know like sometimes designer got scared by the IDE. I was that too, to be honest. But it's like training your muscle, right? It's a muscle memory. More you play with it, like lift weight, right? When the first time you go to the gym, you just leave the bar and you add more weight, you add more weight. So it's basically the same things. We just need to train our muscle memory. Cool. So I'm gonna show you my Figma file. this is kind of a like test or experiment I'm trying to do. So you can see that I already connect with the Figma console NCP. This is a plugin I mentioned earlier. But what I'm going to show you is here, right? So this is the design token. I asked Claude to create before I touch anything, right? I basically said that I need a liquid glass theme. And you can see that they uh, Claude is able to kind of create the primitive tokens and also the semantics tokens, right? Like the fun part is the power of the Figma ICP is that you can actually have a variable inside your token collections inside of Figma. Is I will say that is like 95% correct because if you look at like some semantics, the reason is like 95% is like I only specifically said that the liquid glass, but Claude also like took this a bit further, right? Like they create different theming. So some theming they don't have a correct mapping between the semantic token and permutative tokens. So that's what happens. But you can see that it only requires a few manual works. And this is the first step I mentioned from my workflow. And the second part is interesting, right? So this is the component from Chessian. It's called like hardware card. So basically, I asked Claude to recreate these inside of a Figma. And once it does, I give another prompt said, hey, I need three different variants. I need one with the show more buttons, and I need one with the links and open a new tab, and I need the other variant with the CTA. So it takes around like 2 minutes to create this. Of course, if you are experienced designer, you probably can do it like faster than Club. But the real powerful thing is that the next one, right? So this is the another component as Cloud to create, and it's like a scrollable dialogue. And I asked that to create like three different variants as well. Like one is the accordion contents, because for some contents, if you open on a dialogue, sometimes it's like you want to employ the progress disclosure, right? And that's why with some constraint, Core can also give you different option for you to choose. So now it's everything in Figma. And what happened is that, oh, I like this one accordion the most. So I move into my cursor. I basically asked Claude to build this component. What I did is like I copy paste this thing and I pass to cursor to create this in the like Chessian framework. So what I learned from this exercise is that actually you can specify the file, right? Meaning that if you want to create a components, you can say that, oh, I want this component built in this format, and they will build this for you. So I have two, and this is the accordion dialog I want to show you. And this is I believe this is the second iterations, and you can see it's not there yet, right? But what happened is that if I can do this right now, like uh, let's say like we want this become more dynamic instead of a fixed height, because I think the first part I say is the fixed height. So let's do this. Let's change the accordion. Wait a second. Let me move my screen a little bit. Accordion dialog. The SS in with the dynamic height instead of for So fix. I hopefully hopefully it changed. Last time I checked, the connection is still there, but let's give it a try because the live demo always has some problem. Let me try to. You actually can run this command on the other terminal, but for the sake of time, I'm not going to switch between terminals. So what I'm trying to do is that there has some white space. I want to make sure that this white space isn't here. And if this prompt doesn't work, I can try to use the other prompt. And in practice, I think there has some comment I think is quite interesting. Is a rewind. If you found that this iteration you don't like, you can actually type rewind and go back to the conversations. So let me try to do this again. Okay, so this becomes dynamic. So it's not like have a white space at the buttons. And yeah, and if you want to add a personal touch, usually I will go to, let's say, I think I don't have a way to go back to browser. Here you go. So usually I will go to 21st .f to find different inspiration. Let's say I want to have different cursor effect. So let me browse the different cursor effect. Let's see. So I think for these components, I might use, let's use the spotlight, right? So I want to use the spotlight effect when the cursor hover on the clickable area. And what I did is basically like here, you can copy the prompt and paste here. Sometimes it might work, sometimes it doesn't. So this is the beauty of the agent. You have the idea in your mind, but sometimes it doesn't execute as you wish. And I think for be fluent with the cloud, there has couple tool you may like to know. I have a slide mentioned about like skills. So skill is a super powerful tool if you have some repeated tasks. Lisa will cover that on her talk. But it's extremely powerful because you can customize the skill tailored to your organizations. And the other is ask user questions. Ask user question is basically like you can consider call as your coach, right? If you want to create a project or write a PRD before Claude actually build anything. Ask user question basically will have this interface. You can start to interrogate Claude, and they will like cultivate this discussion between you and Claude. So let's see what's the progress of the plot. And you can see that the token usage, right? So another learning I found, if you use Figma, it's great because it's a domino tool out there. But in terms of the time, like speed and accuracy, I think probably the other tool will be more effective. So this is the the spotlight effect. It's okay, but I was thinking more about like only inside of a dialogue, but I didn't like mention specifically before I give Claude my rationale. So that's why it function like this. But you get a gist that how the entire workflow from the vibe designing to vibe code, right? And I think it's for us as a designer, it's really fun to play around the live code just because that this is the what matter to our end user at the end of the day. So I gonna share my presentation again. So I hope you enjoyed the demo. I know it's a bit like headache, but it's it is the vibe coding all about. So these are the two tools I mentioned. Is that you can use Scale Creator to customize those repeated tasks in your organization, and ask user question is get clarity before agent start anything. And so go back to the first question I asked myself: what's the designer can bring to the table at least in this new era, right? So I still believe that designer has the space in the large organization become the content architects. So you know the context from your user, you know your intent for your design decision, and you might know like some constraint within your organizations. So those things like it's really hard for agent to comprehend at the moment, right? Maybe when the model evolves, it will be better at these kind of things. But for now, I think humans still these things still require human judgment. And these are learning I have from this exercise is like speed and cost, right? So as I mentioned, if we Figma isn't the AI native tool, so Figma Console MCP is a great tool to use. But at the end of the day, like if you use like paper or pencil, those are like built for AI native workflow is much faster. So like I mentioned, the tokens that I create in Figma, it it took like 5 to 7 minutes. But in paper, the last time I tried is like 1 or 2 minutes. So the time is a big difference and the accuracy as well. Unfortunately, the paper and pencil hasn't had the design system component yet, so it's not like easy to have a parity like Figma. And Figma is still the dominant tool that most of the organization use. And the second thing I learned was raise of engineer literacy. As a non-technical person, I still struggle every day when I write code it. Like, what's this means? What's the npm run dev means, or what's the command means, or whatnot, right? So what helped me is that I know something I don't know because before I don't know something I don't know. I know I sounds like a broken record, but this is actually what happens. And it's muscle memory as a designer in this new era we need to train. I had a joke with one of my friend before working at Coda because we are kind of old, so we are teasing each other that we are not suitable for these new generations of the designing. And I said, maybe we can learn like old dog new learn new things. So like that's bring to the next point, like stay open minded, right? Like I know like how easily designer can get overwhelmed by all of the toolings. But at the end of the day, you need to choose the tool that is like accelerate your workflow, right? It's not every tool you need, right? Like if you are not a motion designer, you don't have to learn After Effects, right? For example, or your like specialize in marketing, you have to learn SEO. But that's how we grow, right? Like because you put into different spot and you learn different things. And I think the tooling is the same thing, right? You don't have to learn all the tools. You just need to learn a tool that can make you a better designer and think more sharply. So I will leave you that. The landscape is changing so fast. It's again feel it's super easy to feel overwhelmed. But like we will keep ask the same question over the period of time. What does a designer can bring on the table, right? And that's my talk for today. And thank you for exploring this with me. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Jeremy. And thank you